Nights like tonight are a lot of fun. Welcome to Starcastic Remarks. Alongside James and Chris, my name is Ryan, the oldest of the Chambers brothers. This is Starcastic Remarks. Thank you to our sponsor, DraftKings Sportsbook, the Pick 6 option. Use that promo code THP in the next time you are there using their services. Stars get the win tonight, guys, over the Toronto Maple Leafs. They get a 4-1 win. Stankoven finally burst the dam. He burst the bubble. He gets 2 goals in the game tonight. Bourque as well gets a goal. The power play also gets 2 goals on the night. I mean, lots of good positive things to talk about. Give me y'all's initial thoughts.
Yeah, great way to end the road trip. I mean, Stankoven got the monkey off the back. The Stars got the monkey off the back with how poor they've played Toronto. I think the last time they beat Toronto was February of 2020. So it's been a minute since we beat the Leafs. It's good to beat them. I thought they played a really good game, really good bounce back from the Sens game where there was more mistakes than we've seen in their previous winning streak that they bursted. They got right back to what they needed to do here, right back to what they did to get on that long win streak. And I like the rookies being backboards. I mean, if that's what it takes, then that's what it takes.
And the game didn't start that way. I mean, the first part of the first period, it looked pretty terrible. I mean, it looked like we were still in the Sens game, and the Stars, to their credit, were able to claw back not just in the game but in the period too. I mean, after the first commercial break, they got their butts in action.
Yeah, I was actually going to mention that, James, because it might be unpopular to say this. I think the Stars got lucky in the game today in several aspects. In the first period, it very easily could have been 4-1 to the Maple Leafs instead of the Stars winning the game with that final score. They were not the better team right off the bat. I mean, within the first 6 or 7 minutes, I was just like, dude, this game is already a lost cause. They allow a goal and then they go straight on the penalty kill, which again, 3 posts. I mean, to some extent you can say, oh, well, that was the only available option for the Toronto Maple Leafs to shoot at. But still, it's 3 posts. It's 3 possibilities that they could have scored on the power play there. And instead of, it going to a 1-1 tie going into the first intermission, it could have been 2-0 Toronto or even worse.
Yeah, and really it was that first power play for Toronto was basically the game. I mean, they hit the post 3 times, and that was the most dangerous they looked for the rest of the night, really.
Yeah, and that's where I give the Stars credit. I agree with y'all. At the start of the game, the Leafs looked better, but after that, that kill, there was some good fortune there for sure. There's a lot of good chances for the Leafs on that one, but after that, the Stars really, I felt like, controlled the game, even despite being outshot in the final 2 periods.
Yeah, and it really was the Leafs should have been able to put this game away in the first 10 minutes, and they failed to, so the Stars took over.
And that is fair. That is absolutely fair, where the Stars did not come ready to play in the first period, but they survived. A lot of fortune, I would say, a little bit of Oettinger making some pretty good, decent stops. And, they fixed it in the second period. The second period, they came out ready to go. And again, a touch of fortune, but they took advantage of their situation. That's what you do when you're a good team, and sometimes it's just what you have to do to win. I want to start with a big negative here, guys. Honestly, because it's the big goose egg, the only bad thing that probably comes out of tonight. Roope Hintz does not return to the game after something. They're calling it an upper body injury. I'm assuming it's that hit he took in his own zone early on. I think he only got like 3 or 4 shifts in the game, and then we never saw him again. I'm hoping that this was just precaution, but I highly doubt it, considering it's the Toronto Maple Leafs, one of the better teams in the Eastern Conference. It's such a weird feeling right now because I'm excited about the game and I'm excited about the fact of everything that happened in the game. But when we're already down Marchment and Sagan, and we're possibly now going to lose Hintz for a period of time, that's half of your top 6 gone. And not just that, all 3, veteran guys too.
Yeah, it could turn it out to be a big deal. It's good to get the win here for him for sure. And I guess you could say it couldn't happen at a better time. The Stars are rolling. We have other lines that are rolling other than Roope. Robo's doing well again. So it feels like everything that needed to start clicking is clicking now. But yeah, there a lot of injuries. And tonight, even Blumel is out for an extended part of this game, tries to come back and can't. So, and even Labushkin gets injured for a period of time. So they're definitely on the injury bus right now. But look at the record we've had with the injuries we've had. I mean, losing Sagan and Marchment, who were our best line for the whole first quarter of this season. And we just went on our best run of games there through that past homestand and this road trip. So I'm not too worried about it because I think there's ways that we can make it up as long as those players do stay hot. And that is a pretty big if, but I'm not too worried about it with where we're at in the season. They climbed themselves back up into a comfortable playoff spot with their streak, so they have a little bit of room to play with if there is a little bit of pain with losing Roope. But again, we don't have any idea how long he's going to be out for. I'm still refreshing Twitter trying to find an update.
Yeah, and really all it means is that you're going to have more players step up like we've already had throughout the year. And in this game, it builds confidence because you see Bourque and Stankoven both hit the sheet. And those are the two guys who are going to get elevated with Roope out. So they both get a little bit more ice time this game, and they both come up with goals.
Right. And I mentioned the guys that are rolling need to keep on rolling. Those guys kind of popped back up, especially Bourque has had an amazing past 3 games. If they can even take a step, then maybe those guys don't have to keep producing the way that they are, especially you think of Jamie Benn, who's been on a tear recently. Maybe Bourque and Stankoven can pick up some slack that might come if Roope's out for an extended period of time. So the Stars just overall are rolling it again. It feels like every line can score again. So that's why it's not too discouraging, because it feels like we can get goals from everywhere now.
I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer when I say that, but it's just a fact of what happened tonight. And when you lose your top centerman, and he's not just good offensively, he's been better, especially recently, but he's rock solid in his own zone. He is the definition of a two-way forward. So it just sucks to see him go down like that. However, I'll spin this in a little bit of a way. I don't know if I can actually say this definitively, but when Roope Hintz went out, that forced Pete DeBoer to experiment. He had to, because he only had 11 forwards. And maybe in a way, maybe that got the game going for the Stars. Is that a little bit of a stretch to say that? Because we started to see some guys who are not used to playing with each other, and they're all like, okay, well, it's time to put in a little bit more work because our main guy is down.
Well, they were going before Roope went out in the first period. Like James said, it was after that first TV timeout. The Stars came out from that point and kind of took over the game. But the lines that were thrown together did look really good. So when Roope goes out and Johnson's elevated to your number one center, that's a pretty fantastic replacement. You talked about how great Roope is in a two-way role. Johnson is, I mean, maybe not, you can't say on par yet, but he's getting there. He is a fantastic center, both sides of the ice. And maybe playing with Robo will give him even more of a point streak like he's had with Jamie. So that's another reason why you're not too worried about it, is because Wyatt Johnston is fantastic.
And what's kind of funny is Johnston actually has more points than Roope. Now he has 9 less goals, but he has more points than Roope Hintz does.
Let's transition a little bit to the two guys that you mentioned earlier, Chris, who are really truly the stars of the night, for lack of a better term, no pun intended. Stankoven and Bourque. I thought the two of them. Well, I guess you can't even say them because Duchene was really good too. So we'll just go with those 3 guys. Those 3 guys stepped up in a really big way tonight. And this was just something I noticed at the 6-minute mark of the second period, after he had scored his goal and after Bourque had scored his goal. He just looked different, if that makes any sense. He had a little bit more pizzazz in his game, and he looked like he was finally loose again. And I'm like, yes. I was like, finally, maybe he can stop gripping the stick so tight and go and get more goals. And I honestly think, and I said this a couple of weeks ago, and throughout this 25-game goalless skid for Stankoven, once he gets one, I mean, it's only going to explode, I feel like. And maybe we can see that come to fruition here in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, and he got some good greasy ones too. He got those goals by standing on the blue paint. I mean, his first goal, he's literally jamming at the puck over and over again until it finds its way into the back of the net. And then the Duchene one, he's literally a backboard. He's playing like the Oilers and just stand next to the net, and Duchene banks one off of him. So
and even on the Bourque goal, he's the one who initially tips the puck. I mean, he's the first step, and it just goes off of Bourque and in after that as well. So, I mean, him going to the net was just, he had a golden touch tonight. Every time he touched the puck in that area, it went in.
So keep going there.
True. Yep. Well, and you said he was jamming at it, Chris. He literally reached behind Woll in order to get the goal. Like, all he had to do was tap it in on his backhand, and that's how he got the one goal he's had in 26 games. It's just ridiculous. Like, he hasn't had a goal since November 16th against the Boston Bruins. Like, that had to yeah, sorry. That had to have felt so good. I was so happy to see that.
And honestly, the more impressive goal is the second one where he just bullies Myers in front of the net to get positioning on it. The dude is almost a foot taller than him, weighs 60 more pounds, and he just pushed him out of the way.
Yep, and that's Logan Stankoven. That's how he plays hockey. He plays like he's 6'6", but he's actually 5'10".
And maybe, yeah.
Oh, my bad.
He's even shorter.
5'7", 5'8". He's something like that. But anyways, this was something that I actually had a discussion with a couple of other Stars fans via social media was, he is a very skilled forward, Logan Stankoven is, but it's almost like he would be better off playing with grinders and stuff like that, because I think that fits his style of game a little bit better than playing with, a Duchene-like guy who can, get you the puck in open areas. Because I mean that maybe that's just me and I'm reaching a little bit too much, but what do y'all think?
Yeah, I think that's just you. I think Marchment is the perfect example of what Stankoven kind of is. Marchment's just bigger and it's easier for him. So Marchment, Marchment's line mates always say he's the best F1 in the league because he darts in on the forecheck and makes crap happen. And that's kind of what Stankoven does on the forecheck. He runs in there, causes havoc, and the puck comes free. And that's what you need to do if you're going to be the first guy in on the forecheck, and that's what he's great at. So he has the skills to score too, though. That's why you don't want to put him on that checking line. On the checking line, all those guys are only looking to battle along the boards. I mean, you look at what Beck does, and he gets the puck and he takes it to the boards himself because that's where he's comfortable with the puck. So Stankoven is able to do that on the boards, but he also has the scoring touch. And like you said, I think the dam's broke, and he's going to find a couple here.
Yeah, and really the important thing for him now is being able to score in the next 2 or 3 games. If you have to get that second goal in the next game, third, but
yeah.
you get the point. You gotta find the score sheet again and quickly. Otherwise, you can start setting right back into it. And we saw it happen to Robo earlier in the season. He had like almost
twice.
Yeah, he had like 15 game stretch where he only scored 1 goal in the middle of it.
Yep. And I like your comment, Chris, about the Marchment comparison, because the difference between Marchment and Stankoven was just Marchment was able to bury his chances. For a period of time, he was the hottest Dallas Stars player on the team. Yeah, like he was just ridiculous for a period.
He's pretty good looking, I guess.
That's true, with the blue eyes. But Stankoven was just not burying his chances, and maybe that can get him going, and maybe he can be a Marchment on someone else's line too. So we haven't talked enough about Maverick Bourque. I mean, I love seeing stuff like this with young players and with any players in general. My favorite word in hockey is consistency. We are starting to see consistency from Maverick Bourque, and not just the way he plays the game, but we're seeing confidence in what he does, and he is getting rewarded with points as well. He's got 4 points in his last 5 games, maybe even more than that over the last 5 games. But this is exactly what you need from Maverick Bourque. This is what we expected to see at the beginning of the season. Maybe our expectations were a little too high, and because not everyone is ridiculous like Wyatt Johnston, but Dude, I love this so much for Bourque. It's just great to see him finally getting rewarded for his play, and he's finally starting to get that speed up that he needed to get to.
I mean, this is the game that he played in every other league so far. I mean, it's point per game ish area where he just finds a way to get on the score sheet, and he's been able to do that.
Yep, and to see it over the past 3 games, especially like you said, Ryan, the consistency's better. I'd rather him show 3 good games in a row than have one out of the blue hat trick. You know, you want to see him develop, and it's felt like he's taken a step here, and hopefully he can stay at this level and then just eventually get to the next one. You know,
I mean, we're gonna have to rely upon him and Stankoven down the stretch, assuming Hintz is gonna be out at least for a little while. That's just the one bad thing about Roope Hintz. He can be very injury prone sometimes, but imagine when we get all of those guys back, and if they are able to at least stay with the same confidence, man, I would not want to be playing the Stars when all of those guys come back healthy and at least 90% better or more on the health side. I did want to mention the power play here as well, since we're kind of segueing over that. The first goal, the Bourque goal, obviously it was, I don't want to say it was lucky because he was in the right place at the right time. And that's what you do when when you're trying to get on the score sheet, is you go to the front of the net. That's what you do. That's what Stankoven did. He tipped it. It went off Bourque. Great. Okay. Yeah. But the thing that I noticed was it wasn't the top unit on the ice at that point. And we've seen a little bit of consistency from the second unit lately, that they're the ones that are scoring on the power play rather than the top line.
And what is the second unit? I mean,
that's what I'm.
Steals on the second unit. So what's happened is we've just lost a power play. So now we're just throwing guys out there, and they're doing a better job than the power play is. That's what's happening.
Exactly.
Stop thinking.
Yeah, that's what. So that's what I wanted to talk about with you guys, is just the difference in how the two units play. It's like the second unit is just, okay, get it down deep, ravage for it, go and find the puck, pass it up to the point, try to get those guys to get the puck through the traffic, through the first, blocker, and then just see what happens. Look for rebounds, cause chaos in front of the goalie, which is something that I've been begging them to do for weeks, and we're seeing it from that second unit. Now, Duchene is on the top unit, and they do get on the score sheet tonight as the top unit. Yeah. But a lot of that was Duchene.
That was a lot of Duchene.
Let's be honest. It was a lot of Duchene. And I think I saw on Twitter, I forgot who it was. I wish I could give them credit, but someone said he's been trying to do that for the last month and a half or something like that.
I said
that was James on the group chat.
Oh, that was James. Oh, it was on the group chat. Okay, so I'm losing track of what's reality between the group
chat
and
Ryan. Sources.
Yes. Yeah, I think the big issue that the top unit is still having on the power play is they're just so dedicated to the 1-3-1 power play and making the exact right pass and getting a slam dunk goal. Like, that's their goal when they go out there, is not to make a great shot and score. It's to do the power play correctly. And that's what I think the main problem is they're trying to run their scheme and run it to perfection. And the second unit's like, hey, I never get power play time. I'm going to try and score. And I think that's what's been working. And yeah, the Bourque one is definitely a little bit lucky, but he's doing the right thing. So you're doing the right thing and you get a little bit lucky. There's a little bit of skill in that too. So yeah, I think the top unit just needs to not care too much about the 1-3-1 and just do whatever. I wouldn't even hate to see them spread it out a little bit. I mean, the new diamond formation penalty kill that everyone runs, if you run the diamond that Texas has done, the Texas Stars have done sometimes, it just gives people so much space and allows you to be creative and do some weird stuff. So I just wish they would get off the 1-3-1. They look so bad doing it, in my opinion.
The other thing with the power play is that it hasn't been terrible on the road, and that's kind of something that they need to bring back to the American Airlines Center, is the power play. I mean, they're the worst power play unit at home, and they were like kind of a normal one on the road. And on the road trip, they went 5 for 11 on the power play. which is absolutely nuts.
Considering that they were at like less than 20%, they were like what, 16% overall, something like that. That's just nuts.
What's crazier is it still looks bad. I mean, even the first power plays tonight were not good. They were not good. The second one found ways to score because the second unit goes out there and they do the right things. Like we said, they stack the box and get a little bit lucky. But man, that first power play, the Leafs had the best chance. So, and even throughout the road trip, like, yeah, it's power play scored finally. I'll take that. I'm not going to complain too much about that. I don't know what's fixed because every time we score the power play, I'm like, man, this power play sucks. And then, oh, it went in. Cool.
Yeah, we're actively talking about how the power play sucks in our group chat as we score the second goal.
That was the only shot of the power play, and it bounced off two people.
Yeah.
no. Stankoven, he tipped it. He tipped it with his stick. It bounced off of Bourque, but still, it was a skill play by Stankoven, and Maverick was just at the right place at the right time. I do want to call out Matt Dumba for a positive thing. That hit he had on Domi, yes, let's see more of that, especially in a game where we could use a little bit more of that. Yeah, I know I just mentioned Dumba, but is there anybody on the defensive side and the D-core who you thought had a really good game?
I mean, Lindell had an amazing game. He's been having an amazing season. I mean, we always talk about how he's quietly the best defenseman for the Stars, and tonight it wasn't even really quiet. I mean, he broke up, I think, 3 2-on-1s tonight, and again, amassed an insane amount of penalty kill time. He was amazing before he signed his contract extension, and somehow he's gotten better. I love it.
What I am fully expecting to happen, guys, is when the Four Nations face-off happens, and there's a lot more, national attention on that. I know it's not going to be a huge, spectacle. It's still going to be cool to watch, but I think a lot of people are going to look at Esa Lindell and realize how truly good he is, because he's going to have to play against guys when you might have a combination of McDavid, Sidney Crosby, and Nathan McKinnon all on the same line. And we've seen that Esa Lindell can handle stuff like that. So I really hope he gets a little bit more national attention during the Four Nations tournament. I could see it happening.
Yeah, I could see that.
One thing I wanted to point out was I thought Nils did a better job of handling the hits in the game tonight.
Yeah.
That has been something he really struggled with over the last 2-3 games. And I thought he did a decent job of it tonight. And that's what he just has to learn how to take those hits. And he was doing that a lot more tonight.
Yeah, especially post the Dumba hit. I mean, that's when the Leafs actually turned it on a little bit more and we're getting a little bit more physical. And you're 100% right. He responded way better to it tonight than he did against, I think it was the Habs is when he had that really bad night when they were pelting him.
I mean, it was Ottawa too.
Oh, right. True.
Both of those games were just not good turnovers wise.
Were either one of you surprised by the lack of pushback from the Toronto Maple Leafs after the Stars went up 3-1?
I think it was just perfect timing for that power play. That's a clutch power play goal from Duchene. I mean, you're going to the third period 2-1, and the only thing they're barking about in the locker room, Toronto that is let's kill off this power play and let's go. And they can't complete step one. I mean, that's a morale shot immediately. So I think that power play was just so clutch, happened at such a perfect time. And
then the Stars stepped on the gas too. They scored that power play, and then they were just downhill, and they got the fourth one too. And after that, it was just done. The game was over after that.
I was just a little bit surprised that they didn't have more pushback. I mean, even the Stars of late, when they've had a bad game, like they did against Ottawa, which I don't blame them for, because they, again, third game in 4 nights. Yep. They still were able to get a power play goal late and at least give them a chance to force overtime. I mean, we didn't even see that from the Toronto Maple Leafs.
It's a little telling of the loss streak they're now on, because they had a 2-0 lead over the Canes and then ended up losing that game 6-3. And then they lost to the Canucks 3-0. So, and then even tonight they score first again and they have a lead again. And technically comeback win for the Stars. Hooray.
Not really, let's be honest.
But I mean, it's just how this stretch has gone for them.
I think they were 17-5-1 when they score first, or 17-3-1, and the Stars were like 17-6-2 or something like that when they score first. So that's a good stat for the Stars to get back over, because that was one thing they did really, really well last season. It always felt like they were in games, and this year not so much. Although lately it has felt a lot better, and it's just I'm just a little surprised that Toronto didn't have as much pushback as they should have. That's just a thing I noticed. So okay, and I'm trying to think of anything. Oettinger, I thought he was okay. No, I didn't think nothing flashy, but he did make some pretty good saves when needed.
Yeah, I mean, not getting tested tonight was the big deal, especially that third period, like you mentioned. We were outshot 8-3, actually. It didn't feel like it because our defense was fantastic, but Otter was there when he needed to be. So a one-goal game and over 20 shots, Otter played good. He just didn't have to be amazing.
Yeah, and a large part of that is the posts in tonight's game. I mean, both sides.
Like
Toronto hit 5, and the Stars hit 3. So
to the 8.
It was a lot. There was a lot of iron hit tonight.
Could have been a much higher scoring game too, but yet somehow Oettinger only allows 1 goal with a bit of luck. The other thing I wanted to mention, I actually looking over my notes, is I didn't even realize that Duchene's goal, that he pulled it through between his legs and shot it from behind. I didn't see it at first. I just thought he did what he normally tries to do, go backhand, forehand, and over the top. And I didn't see him do that until they showed the replay. And I'll be honest, I halfway flipped out because I was just like, dude, that's legit. It was.
Y'all are bad at watching hockey. I lost my mind when he did it. So
that put the game away for sure.
Yeah, I lost my mind even more when I realized how he did it, I guess is what I should say. I was really excited when it did happen. Okay, so my biggest thing from the game against Ottawa was that the Stars just turn it around and they get back in the win column immediately, and they do so tonight. So that's good. It's better consistency from them. And moving forward, they will play the Canadiens again on Thursday?
Correct.
Okay. And they are at home for that game. So I hope to be there for that game. Anything else before we wrap it up with biggest winner, biggest loser?
No.
Okay, let's do it. Biggest winner, biggest loser.
Biggest winner is Matt Duchene. That guy's crazy. They mentioned he was a little bit quieter on this trip. He was still getting points. He just wasn't scoring as many goals. And tonight he does that ridiculousness in the third period. And it technically is not a game-winning goal, but that really feels more like the game-winning goal. I mean, that was the dagger. That put it away, and it was just awesome.
It has been so hard for the Stars to get the insurance marker or to extend leads. And again, something else lately that they've been able to do is do exactly that. So again, I agree with you, Chris. That goal by Duchene was huge. James, who you got?
I'm gonna take the Nets behind the goaltenders tonight because there was a lot of posts tonight. It was kind of insane. I mean, the score could have been like 8-4. It was pretty good luck for the goaltenders tonight.
I guess I'll take the obvious one and say Logan Stankoven for finally ending his drought, getting 2 goals and an assist as he gets a 3-point night. I just hope this is just explodes for him. He can finally get that monkey off of his back. And it honestly, I know this is not exactly the right way to look at it, but it probably couldn't have come at a better time with Roope Hintz getting out in the game today because of his injury. So maybe that means that he can take a step forward and we can rely upon him for a little bit more offense because we're going to need it. It's not fair to him or Bourque for us to expect that. But, I mean, there's not many other guys that can put the puck in the back of the net for the Dallas Stars that are remaining on the roster. So, and then I'll do a slight honorable mention, biggest winner to Esa Lindell. That guy is ridiculous. I think I've given him more biggest winners this year than I ever have in any
year. Been that much better.
Yeah, I mean, but it's almost like I just notice him more, and I don't know why. Maybe it's just because I'm starting to appreciate it more. But he'll get my honorable mention, and again, he doesn't get the accolades he deserves. All right, biggest loser.
The biggest loser is Nick Robertson, who played a great game again against the Stars, but finally is held off the score sheet. Thank goodness.
My biggest loser is going to be Philippe Myers for getting pushed around by someone who is 60 pounds lighter than him.
Oof.
And a foot shorter, basically. Not quite, like 9 inches shorter, like 7, 8, 9 inches shorter.
Only 9 inches.
Only 9 inches. I guess I'll give my biggest loser to, I don't know. I guess it's just the Toronto fan base in general, because tickets to those games, okay, maybe specifically the Toronto fans that were in Scotiabank Arena tonight, because those tickets are ridiculously expensive. I mean, just like Dallas Cowboys level, ticket prices up there in Canada, and that sucked. I'm sure to watch as a Toronto Maple Leafs fan in the building. And then like with the 4 minutes remaining, there was like nobody in the bottom bowl. I don't know if y'all noticed that.
Yeah.
But man, it was just so bad.
Especially when the other team's best goal scorer goes out early. And they did nothing from that point on.
And there were a couple of rush chances that Toronto had that Dallas didn't do anything defensively on, that they just kind of squandered. And they just either didn't get a shot off or got a really lame shot off or whatever. So I'll give my biggest winner just to the Toronto fans that were in Scotiabank Arena tonight. Okay, I think that's going to do it here for us tonight. Anything else, guys?
Nope.
Fun game here tonight. Dallas Stars do get the win over the Toronto Maple Leafs 4-1. Thank you guys so much for following along with us live here this evening. If you have been, there's even more of you who are listening afterwards. StarcasticRemarks.com is the website. Go and check that out. At StarcasticR, anywhere and everywhere on social media. If you're listening to this episode on the audio side, make sure you leave us a 5-star review if you would do so, please, anywhere that may be. And if you're listening or watching on YouTube, I almost said listening on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, click like and subscribe there down below, and we would really appreciate that there. Again, thanks to DraftKings Sportsbook for being our sponsor. Promo code is THPN there. And guess what? We are going to be back with you guys again tomorrow night, 9:30 for a live stream for a non-after game review here. So we're going to talk about just general things about we're basically halfway through the season, so we'll talk about how we feel about the state of the Stars, I guess we could say. We'll discuss numerous other Stars topics that you guys would like us to talk about. Alongside James and alongside Chris, my name's Ryan. We'll catch you guys on the flip side. Hope y'all have a fantastic morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you guys are listening. Chris, what do you got for us today?
Got milk. GG, boys.